Hi, it's Fab Poli here. Welcome to Biz Jet TV. Today we're going to be talking about 3 private jets you can buy for under $1 million. Before we get into it, if you haven't already subscribed to Biz Jet TV, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. There's lots of interesting content about private jets. But let's get straight into it and let's talk about the first airplane, which is a Dassault Falcon 100. Now, we're talking about buying one of these airplanes for anywhere between $400,000 to $700,000. Yes, you can buy one for $400,000. However, it is an airplane built in 1985. So a 35-year-old airplane, so quite old. But you know, for $400,000 to $700,000, you got yourself a private jet. Now, it's not a very big aircraft. It carries about 5 to 6 people. Over 1,500 nautical miles, that's the range. But for many years, the Falcon 100 was the fastest private jet out there. So it's going to get you from A to B very quickly at 476 knots, which is an incredible speed for a private jet. Now, of course, this being an older aeroplane, as I always say, buying an older aeroplane is a good idea because the capital outlay is not much. But it's going to cost you about $5,000 an hour to operate this thing if you're flying around 200 hours a year. Now, with an older airplane, you've got to be very careful on maintenance. If you're buying something like this, make sure it's got ADS-B compliancy for 2020 or you'll find yourself with an airplane that can't fly next year. So those are things you need to consider. If it hasn't got the ADS-B in it, you need to get it done. That may cost you a lot of money. Now, I had an owner I was flying for a few years ago, and he bought one of these aircraft and he spent a lot of money on refurbishing the interior, put new engines on it, he upgraded it, put Proline 21 avionics and whatever. He spent about $4 million on the airplane. He then flew it himself a little bit, and his pilots flew around. He had his nephew got pilot's license and flew it around as well, had some fun, and they kept the airplane for about 2.5 years and ended up selling it for just under $750,000. So yes, he spent $4 million to upgrade and put all the latest and greatest in this airplane. It looked very nice. I've been in it a number of times. Nice airplane, but you know, he spent $4 million and sold it for $750,000 after 2.5 years. So this is the thing you're going to have when you're buying one of these older airplanes. Is you've got to be very careful what you buy, how it's maintained and everything, because you want this thing to be airworthy. And I always say to people, when you're buying a private jet, you're not buying an airplane, you're buying time. So reliability of the airplane is going to be very important. But you know, Falcon 100, you can buy one, as I said, for $400,000 to $700,000, $5,000 an hour to run. So definitely one to look at and to consider. The second airplane we're going to talk about is the Cessna Citation 1. There's also the 2 and the 5, which is basically the same airplane. The difference being the 1 has a 1,300 nautical mile range. If we go into the 5, which is the same airplane but slightly stretched, it's 1,900 nautical mile on the range. The operating cost for this is $3,600 an hour. If we're talking the Citation 1, if we're talking the Citation 5, it's about $3,950 an hour. And the reason being the airplane weighs more, and so it burns more fuel. Now, these are workhorses. I've flown the Citation 1 and Citation 2. Did about almost 500 hours in those airplanes back in the early days. Very reliable airplane. You can buy a Citation 1 today for $400,000, even up to $550,000. Again, as I said about the Falcon 100, make sure it's got the ADS-B and whatever. Some people have upgraded the Citation 1 and turned it into what's called a Citation 1 Eagle, which has got new engines on it and new avionics, very modern avionics up front. Those cost about $1.5 to $1.6 million. With all that equipment in it, you can obviously buy an older one and have that equipment installed. So there's lots of things you can do with this. But you know, if you buy Citation 1 or 2 or 5, your Citation 5s today go for around about $900,000. $8 to $900,000. You can find a Citation 5, which has got a bit more range. You know, it's 1,900 nautical miles, just under $4,000 an hour. You can bet quite a few people in there, 6 to 8. I've even flown 10 people on a Citation 2. Once we had 10 seats, and we flew from Milan, Italy to France. It's a bit crammed in there with 10 people, but you know, this is a workhorse. Again, these are older airplanes. We're talking 1981, 84, 85. This is the age, so you know, 30+ year airplanes. So again, be very careful on the pre-buy inspection. Be careful what you buy. Be careful how you maintain it. because these are older aeroplanes. They do break more often than newer ones. So that's all about the Citation. Just a couple of other things on the speed. It's a slow aeroplane. They do call it the Slotation. 0.7 Mach or 0.75 for the Citation 5. So that's the information there on the Citation. Now we're going to get into the third aeroplane, which is the Lear 55. Or even the Lear 35, which is a shorter version. Lear 35 costing anywhere between $535,000 to $800,000. We're talking again 30 to 35 year old airplane. The Lear 35 costs about $3,950 an hour to operate. Flies 2,800 nautical miles at 471 knots. So fast airplane. Flight level 450, which is 45,000 feet. These airplanes are very popular with air ambulance companies. Very good air ambulance airplane because it's quick and flies high as well. Gets above the weather. So it's very versatile under that aspect. The Lear 55 is a slightly bigger version, carries 10 passengers, slight less range, just about 2,400 nautical miles. Again, another quick aeroplane. You can buy these for $595,000 to $900,000 for 1981, 82, 85 airplane. This airplane will cost you $4,600 an hour, so more than the Lear 35 because it's heavier, so obviously burns more fuel. So the Lears in particular, very popular with air ambulance. They are small inside. If you haven't seen the video about the Lear 75, which is the new Learjet, just click on the link above. That's a very interesting airplane. Obviously the cost is a lot higher than what I'm talking about today. And if you want to go even lower, because we are talking about private jets for less than $1 million, you can actually buy a Lear 24D, which is one of the very first Learjets that were built. We're talking a 1974 aeroplane, so almost 50 years old here, for under $100,000. But again, this will cost a lot of money to maintain. It costs a lot of money to operate. Also, the 24, if you're going to fly it yourself, beware because this thing climbs like a flipping rocket. I mean, it can climb 6, 7, 8,000 feet a minute. So it's very, very fast on the climb. But it will burn a lot of fuel. And that's the other thing with these older airplanes. They are cheap to buy, but be careful on the maintenance because they do break more often. But you know, if you've got a good maintenance crew, you've got some good pilots, you upgrade it a little bit with some modern technology, this can be a good buy. If you haven't got a lot of money to buy an airplane, it's certainly worth considering. But that's all from Fab Poli here at Biz Jet TV. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe to Biz Jet TV, like this video, share this video, comment below. That's all from Fab Poli at Biz Jet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.